One of the most valuable lessons I have ever learned from Jesus was a lesson about excuses. Now, you would think, because most people paint Jesus as this person who just walks around saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers," just love, love. Here is a lesson I learned from Jesus about excuses. You're ready? If you don't make them, you don't have to take them. I mean, think about why people accept excuses from other people. You accept excuses from other people as a deposit on a future excuse that you want to give them. But if you don't make excuses, you don't have to take them. And so we are going to read a story this morning where Jesus asked a simple question with a seemingly obvious answer, and he got everything but the obvious answer. So the title of this message today is Just Say Yes. The story is in John chapter 5, verses 1 through 9. After this, there was a feast of the Jews. And by the way, this is a story about Jesus healing a man on the Sabbath day, and the Pharisees wanting to kill him because of that. I am not even going to go into that part of the story. I just want to go into this fascinating part of the story that blows my ever-loving mind every time I read it. It says, after this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there was at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of sick folk, the blind, the lame, the withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whoever then was first after the troubling of the water was made whole of whatever disease he had. And a certain man was there who had an infirmity, 38 years. That is almost 4 decades. This man had a weakness that had him so feeble he could only lay down. He could not sit up. He could not stand up. He could not walk. He could not run. And he had been laying down for 38 years. Imagine the muscle atrophy of 38 years of laying down. Imagine the stiffness. Imagine the disconnection of the nervous system after 38 years of laying down. And it says, when Jesus saw him lying there, he knew that he had been a long time in that condition. And he said to him, "Will you be made whole?" That seems like a simple question with an obvious answer. This is the man who had already turned water into wine. This is the man who would raise the dead, who would open blind eyes, heal the lame, heal lepers. This is the man. Would you like to be made whole? Now, the interesting thing about being made whole, he did not say, "Would you like to heal yourself?" He did not say, "Would you like to fix yourself?" He did not say, "Would you like to get on a personal development program?" No, no, no. Would you like to be made whole? Which means you are the passive recipient of wholeness. Somebody else is going to do it for you. What blows my mind is the man did not say, "Yes, I have been waiting for you for 38 years. He did not say that. He did not say, "Yes, can we do it now?" He did not say that. He started making excuses. That to me is crazy. He sounds so much like us. "Will thou be made whole?" The impotent man answered him, "Sir." Not "Yes, sir," just "Sir." And then he gave 3 excuses. "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is troubled. The reason I am here and the reason I have been here so long is because nobody will help me. My mama won't help me. My daddy won't help me. My brothers, my sisters, my cousins, aunties and uncles, no help. The next door neighbors said no. The people down the street said, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. They made me this way. I am the victim of the neglect of the people in my life. The question Jesus asked is not whose fault it is that you have not been healed. That was not the question. The question was, do you want to be made whole? Jim Rohn said when teaching people how to sell, we told them, you need to talk to a certain number of people a day. And he said at the end of the day, we want to know how many people you talked to. I talked to 10, I talked to 8. Well, what had happened was, no, time out. We don't want a story. We want a number. He said the reason we make the space so small is so a story won't fit. This question that Jesus asked, yes is 3 letters, no is 2 letters. This is a very small space. We don't have room for your story. Let me ask you a question. When you're thinking about all the stuff your life could be, that it's not right now, who are you blaming? Are you blaming your alcoholic father? Are you blaming your drug-addicted mother? Are you blaming the parents that abandoned you? Are you blaming racism? Are you blaming sexism? Are you blaming some other ism? Whose fault are you saying it is that your life is not doing what it could be doing right now? What if everything that was missing in your life up until now was missing to develop things in you that you would not be able to develop if those things were present? Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit and wanted to kill him. They hated him for his words and his dreams. And when their father died, his brothers thought Joseph was like them, that he would blame them for all of his circumstances, for being sold into slavery, for being sent into prison for a crime he did not commit, for the butler forgetting about him when the butler got out. They thought, oh, he is going to get us back now that Dad is gone. But Joseph had no desire to get them back, because Joseph realized, when you understand the sovereignty of God, no one is to blame. I had polio as an infant. I was born in a segregated hospital. Racism is why I cannot run. I cannot stand without assistance. Those are facts. I could say I can't stand those people. That could be a conclusion I arrive at. And there are people who would arrive at that conclusion, but I can't go there. Why? Because I cannot play the blame game. Here is what Joseph said to his brothers. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. God meant your evil for my good. The people who have done you evil did not do it while God was taking a nap. He wasn't on vacation and came back saying, can you believe what they did while I was gone? No. The people who have done you evil, God intended their evil for your good. Racism said, we are not giving these people access because of their skin color. God said, in my sovereignty, I have work for this brother to do. And in order for him to do the work I have for him, I'm going to have to slow his body down so his mind can speed up, so he is not distracted by things he would be distracted by if he had a fast body. I am going to make sure his parents move around a lot, so he never feels like he can put all his weight down in any one town. And he's going to go to 9 different schools from kindergarten through 12th grade. This man played the blame game. Here is what I want all of you to do, whether you are watching on YouTube or sitting in this room. Take the blame excuse out of your excuse pile and recognize that God is sovereign and no one is to blame. You want to blame your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your grandpa. You want to blame the government, racism, sexism. Stop it. Take responsibility. Did you hear that word? Responsibility. It is a compound word made of 2 words, respond and ability. So instead of reacting and using the blame excuse, what if you responded to your particular circumstance with ability? How do I know I have ability? Because you are made in the image of an able God. Then he gave the second excuse. I am doing the best I can. I see us in this story so much. He said, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, someone else steps in before me. I am doing the best I can. You know what we say when people give us excuses like that? You poor thing, it's going to eventually turn around for you. Bless your heart. That is not what Jesus said. No, you are not doing the best you can. You could stay up an hour later reading a book that has the answer. You could make 3 more phone calls to potential prospects. You could spend an hour at night designing the program. You could spend 1 extra hour a day learning AI, developing a new skill. 1 hour a day developing a new skill. You are not doing the best you can. You are doing as much as you can to be able to say that you are doing the best you can. That blows my mind completely. Do you understand how worthless excuses really are? The problem with excuses is, when you keep making them, you begin to believe the lie that other people believe them too, just because you lied to yourself and told yourself you believed them. Here is what I'm going to tell you about your excuse. So what? Doesn't matter. You don't believe me? Okay. Next time the electric company sends you a bill, do not put a check in the envelope. Put a story in the envelope. Write on a piece of paper. What had happened was, my car broke down and I needed a new transmission, and the transmission cost more than I thought, so I used the money for the light bill. Please understand, sincerely me, and send it in the mail. What happens? You are going to be living in the dark very shortly. The electric company, the water company, your mortgage company, the bank, none of them care. None of them. They are literally telling you, in real life, that your excuse does not matter. So what if you are doing the best you can? If that is true, and it isn't, Then figure out how to do better. And then the third excuse. This one we love, even though we don't realize we're using it all the time. Other people are just better than me. The better than excuse. He said, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steps in before me. Other people are just better than I am. Stop going through life deceiving yourself into thinking that other people have superpowers and you are just a human. Because those same people you're looking at like they have a cape hidden in a phone booth, they are looking at you the same exact way. Stop it. But he is different. He is so talented. Yeah, he has a little something going on in his life too, trust me. Stop looking at people and thinking God handed out gifts to everyone and came to you and said, skip that one. Quit it. Other people are not better than you. They are different from you. And the reason they are different is because their assignment is different from yours. They are better than you at their assignment, but they are not better than you at your assignment. In fact, you are in an arena of champions, completely without competition. In my 65 years on this planet, I have never met one single person who could be better than me at being me. Not one. I get accused of having an enormous reality distortion field. A reality distortion field means you believe in some distorted version of reality so big that you superimpose it over actual reality. Every time I get accused of that, I say the same thing. How do you know it's my reality that's distorted? How do you know it's not yours? Maybe I'm aware of reality, and you have a small reality distortion field, and you think reality is smaller than it actually is. I thank God for my dad. He was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. He was a plumber, a very rough, manly man. His hands were harder than the wood of this chair. You did not want to catch one from those hands. And my dad was not playing. He let everybody in our house know he was in charge. And my dad said, boy, if somebody else can do it, you can do it. But Dad, don't you think? No. No. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. In fact, I'm going to teach you a song. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. My dad used to make us sing that song. My dad made it through the 3rd grade. Could barely read, but he could do math better than a lot of mathematicians. He could count the money in your pocket from 100 paces away and figure out what to sell you by the time you got close to him. But you know what? My dad believed in his ability, and he taught me to believe in mine. He taught me that if it can be done by another human being, it can be done by you. So I never look at somebody and think, they are special and they can do stuff I can't do. I look at what other people do and think, you mean people can do that? Watch me. I am about to try this. I am going to test it. I am never going to assume it won't work for me. I remember as an entrepreneur, when I decided to sell my first premium offer, I was hyper aware of the fact that I needed the practice more than I needed the profits. And so I made the price astronomically high, knowing everyone would say no, but that would make my practice better. I was selling a program to teach people public speaking and how to make a lot of money from speaking. The first time I offered it, there were maybe 15 people in the room. And I said, and it's $3,000. I was not expecting anybody to buy. I was just practicing saying $3,000 without my face twitching or my brain glitching. I said, it's $3,000. And 2 people got up, filled out the form, brought it to the table and said, here's my credit card. God is my witness. My first thought was, maybe they didn't hear me say it was $3,000. I made those sales not because I believed people were going to buy. I made them because I believed I needed the practice more than I needed the profits. So you know what I did after that? I raised the price. Next time I offered it, $4,000. As I live and breathe, 7 people said yes. For the same thing. Do you know that when I stopped selling that program, I think around 2020, I was selling it for $35,000? Why? Because I did not buy into the better than excuse. Other people were selling things for $35,000. Why not me? Back around 2000 or 2001, there was this guy named John Reese on the internet. He launched a product called Traffic Secrets for $1,000. He did a huge launch, and 1,000 people bought it in 24 hours. John Reese became the first person online to do $1 million in revenue in a single day. $1 million in a day. I thought, if John Reese can make $1 million in a day, surely I can figure out how to do it eventually. And eventually came, years later. But here is the thing. Before I ever had $1 million day, I sold a training program for $25,000. One of the men who bought it was a major internet influencer. He used what I taught him, and he had $1 million day doing it. Before I had ever had $1 million day doing what I taught him. And he sent me a message saying, "Thank you so much."